And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Women of High Value channel. And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about how you can prepare yourself to become an amazing wife. And an ounce of prevention. How's that saying go? Anyway, the point is we want to prepare you in advance of becoming a housewife. Because if you're already a housewife, you've kind of, or you're already married, you've kind of put yourself into a routine and certain habits of the way you relate to your husband. And those habits might not be conducive for long-term growth and happiness in your long-term relationship. So I'm going to talk to those girls and women who are not yet married, but who want to create the most amazing marriage possible. Now, you basically have the choice of, do you want a career ladder or do you want to be a housewife? Because people try to do both, but I can tell you they'll suck at both of them. Straight out, I'll tell you right now. And if you actually succeed in your career, that means that you're going to suck as a wife. That's just how it is. You become obsessive about something else that doesn't relate to your home's going to be a mess. And if you actually do manage to make your home not a mess and you manage to succeed at your career, your relationship with your husband will be non-existent. You'll basically steer away from each other and it's not going to work. And it's not going to be good for your kids. And then you're going to be wishing 40 years down the line, I wish I didn't work on my career because I could have raised my family and I could have made a difference in my children's lives. The worst thing you can do for your kids is to get a divorce. The worst thing you can do for your kids is to not make that marriage relationship work. That's why we're going to talk about how to prepare yourself in advance of marriage so that you are ready when you actually do get married. So what are some things? Let's assume that the guy that you marry is a man of high value. Okay, we have to make that assumption because why on earth would you choose anyone else? That wouldn't make any sense. He needs to be a man of high value. And what does that mean? Look at my other videos. I'll explain a little bit more about what a man of high value is. Search for it. What is a man of high value? Once he is a man of high value, you will want to keep him. And I'll tell you, number one thing in terms of you retaining your husband is trust. Making yourself dependable and trustworthy. Now that's something that's really hard to work on, but it's the quality in your personality that's going to make the most difference long term. Men of high value are able to handle the truth. And they want the truth from you. Which means that by all means, they desire for you to be unburdened. They desire for you to be as easygoing as possible and as unburdened as possible. What that means in practical terms means that you do not have any secrets towards your husband. If there's anything in the past that you still think about or that still comes up, you talk to your husband about it. If there's anything that you have secrets about right now in your marriage, you talk to your husband about it. He should know everything about you. Why? Because your secrets grow. And if they don't grow, they make your discipline grow. Because you have to keep those secrets to yourself. They're in your dark chamber. And when those dark chambers grow over time, it ends up building up like a pressure cooker, and you basically blame your husband, not knowingly, for you feeling the way you feel. It's his fault. But you're not helping him if you're not sharing your secrets. It's a very tricky thing because women have a lot of secrets and they don't feel that they can tell their husband or their long-term committed partner everything. But it has to start at some point. Make sure that the person that you do marry is the right one to marry so that you can actually share the full truth and nothing but the truth with him from the beginning to the end. It makes your life so much easier to be transparent about everything. Trust me on this one. It is what makes a relationship work, is you being able to trust one another in everything. What is an example of that? My wife had a crush before she got married. About a year before we actually got married. That guy, she never married. They just went on dates and they never had sex. But they just went on dates and nothing happened. Now, in our marriage, for several years, I didn't know about this. That she had a crush on this guy and she wished that something would have happened. So once she got married to me and things were going down the drain and things were not working very well in the beginning, eventually I kind of managed to get on track and figure out everything that I've learned over time. Now it's almost been 10 years of marriage and I'm beginning to understand the woman a little bit more. But during the first few years, I didn't know about it at all. And then once I actually got her to open up about everything, then she told me about this guy that she still somewhat was thinking about. And now that would normally hurt a guy to know that his wife is thinking about someone else while she's married to you. And it's not really what the guy wants to hear because of his ego and all that stuff. But as a man of high value, I committed to wanting to know all of her secrets, everything. So whenever that name and that person pops up in her head, she tells me about it. And because I'm able to not care and be indifferent to it, I just throw it out the window. The fact that she actually tells me about it means that it's now out of her system and gone. But if she keeps it in her heart, it escalates and it escalates and it escalates and it escalates until that secret is unbearable and she either, who knows? That's the danger of it. We don't know what's going to happen if secrets build up and become massive over time. Another way that you can become dependable and make sure that he trusts you is to continuously express your emotions. Everything. Now, most marriages would say that no, the woman needs to be calm, the woman needs to be submissive, the woman needs to, be low maintenance and all that stuff. Of course, if it's possible, I agree. But if the guy doesn't get continuous feedback, like when women yell at their husbands, in my eyes, it's a positive thing because it's immediate feedback to the guy, not keeping secrets, immediate feedback thrown in his face telling him that something is not right. Something is wrong. Something needs to be fixed. Now, very often it's only her PMS and her period that's going on and it's creating issues and she's basically venting and throwing everything to his face. And if he knows her cycle, then he understands that. But it could also be other things that he has done that she actually doesn't like that he needs to know about. And once he knows about it, and he knows how you feel, then he can actually change and start working on those things. Over time, it takes time, of course, then he can improve and become better and do things better. But if you keep it all in, building up, building up, building up. It creates an exponential growth of tension and issues. So please express your emotions always. You feel something, you feel fear, you feel angry, you feel upset, you feel annoyed. Boom, right in his face. If he's a man of high value, he's actually going to manage to receive it, toss out what's not relevant and important right now, and that's okay, and then take a few of those things to focus on and make sure that he makes it happen. Now, that's in the trust and dependable category, which is the most important one, because if he knows that you're going to stick, that you're going to be there, that you're going to be there forever together, he's going to work harder on his marriage. If he's always have to kind of be guessing, is she going to stick around? Are we actually going to make it? He might not be willing to go through the necessary pain of change in order to make you happy. So the trust needs to be there. And then comes the motivation and the reward. Because men can do amazing things if they're motivated. And they know that the reward at the end is worth it. Now, you, as the wife, are the motivation and the reward. The motivation, basically, when you tell him what you want and what you want to experience, how you want to feel, that motivates him and gets him into action. And then, if he knows the amazing rewards that you will give him at the end of the, when he's actually done what he's supposed to do, and he knows that that reward is amazing, he's going to have a superpower that's going to astound you. Men are capable of amazing things if they're motivated by a woman. That's your job. Now, does it mean that you will succeed at it? It's going to be hard in the beginning. It's going to be uncomfortable. But you need to know what it takes to be an amazing wife. And I'm just letting you know right now. And that's why I'm also always saying a career is going to mess things up, because you're not going to be able to do these things that I'm saying right now. The only way you're going to be able to do these things is if you establish your home as your main base and the main thing that you're doing and your main obsession. You can't do that while you have another job. And we're going to talk about those jobs and career ladders and all that stuff another time. But for now, how can you be an amazing wife when it comes to motivation and reward? Number one, you have to be trustworthy. We've taken care of that one. Number two, you have to be desirable to your husband. Once you're not desirable any longer, it's very difficult to motivate that guy to do things that he's uncomfortable with doing, for then to give him a kind of reward. It just makes sense. You are his reward. It's not just about the kids. Yes, it's great to see the kids growing up and all that stuff, but the kids want to see that you guys are passionate about each other. The only way you're going to be passionate about him is if he actually gets results. But the only way he's going to get results is if you actually are a motivation to him and there are actual rewards attached to you that he will get if he actually follows through on that motivation and massive action. It's a very tricky subject, because most often these days I got to teach men to help their women to become a motivation and reward. And it has to work a little bit both ways, but we don't blame women for not being able to do the things that are needed to do, because the men have to create an environment to make it easy for you to do those things that I'm going to share with you right now. So anyway, it's always the man's fault, but get rid of everything else and focus on those things that I'm telling you right now, because if you do, it's going to have massive results. So number two, become desirable. We're talking about prevention. We're talking about setting in habits before you're married and preparing yourself to be an amazing wife. I would say work on your femininity. Masculinity, be gone. Work on your femininity. Your feminine traits, your long hair, your appearance, your weight, and your shape. It is critical that you learn in your youth to exercise and to do it daily. Now, if you learn to do this daily and keep that habit throughout your life, you will keep your husband motivated. He'll always be motivated if you manage to do that. Is that hard? Yes, it's hard. Is it easier if you start that practice and that habit early in life? Absolutely. If you've got those habits, it's actually hard to become fat and to let yourself go in that way. But if you prepare yourself, then over time, things can work for your good. I'm going to go back to that one afterwards when it comes to your body. But in the meantime, cooking. A way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Very often. It's half the battle is won there if you actually manage to make good food and you enjoy making that food for him. This becomes tricky once you start having kids, but we're just trying to make this possible here. Cooking, sewing, cleaning, all those things that women used to do in the home in the past is motivation, and it helps the man to desire to succeed. If he has to do everything in the home because you're struggling or things are going or you're sharing the load or all that stuff, that means that he has to do that and in addition to do the work outside of the home. It's very tricky for guys to kind of switch his mindset from career to home. So if you can allow him to just focus and obsess about his work, he's going to get further in that work. And he's going to get massive results. Hopefully. If you pick the right guy. If you pick the man of high value, he's going to get results. If you focus on those things that relate to the home. Another one of these is to learn to stretch the dollar. If you can become a minimalist early in life, that will serve you well throughout your days. Learn how to stretch the dollar. It's more important for you to understand how it is to have a hard cap on your finances. This is how much I can spend and no more. And then you keep it for years and years and years and years and years and years. Even if you do work in preparation for your marriage, if you have a job and all that stuff, that's fine. But you have a cap on how much you spend and it's always less than what you earn. So when you actually do get married, it's easy for him to raise that level above what you are used to. If you are a minimalist. But if you're a big spender and you always spend all of your money, your whole life, and all the money that you got in allowance or work or whatever, and you've lived paycheck to paycheck, how are we going to know that you're not going to do the same thing once you get married? You get married and you start spending all of his money. And now he has to get into debt and he has to work even more. And then this just becomes bigger and bigger problems out of it. So if you learn how to stretch the dollar, that's going to make a huge difference in your marriage as well. Get low maintenance feminine female friends. Now, if you're going to be a housewife, you're going to be very lonely. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are going into the workforce these days, because they don't really want to spend time with their kids. They don't really want to spend time with their husband. So just a few hours of the day they can do. But the rest of the day, they want to go out and chase their careers. They want to go out and do that. Because they're around people. It's social. And it's people their age. Women love that stuff. Women are social beings. Learn how to get female friends who are feminine and who think like you. That is very difficult in this day and age, but it's still worth the fight to actually work towards it. Very tricky, but it is worth it if you find feminine friends who think like you do. And if you grow up with them, that's even better. And if you try to kind of be in the same vicinity as them and not move too much around, then maybe you'll keep those friends for life. And who knows? But I think it's important. I mean, at the same time, you do also have Skype. You also have other forms of communication these days that makes that a lot easier. But at the same time, man, with all these taxes and expenses and bills and all that stuff that's going on, very often you lose in touch with those friends. But keep them, because it's going to help your marriage. Okay? We're doing this to help you become an amazing wife. Because if you don't have those feminine female friends, you're going to make your husband your feminine female friend. And that's going to distract him and take him away from his obsession, which should be building his empire for you. Am I right? Do you want him to be feminine? Then spend a lot of time with him and just, always talk to him about everything and, be his buddy. No, he doesn't want to be your friend. You don't want to be his friend. You want to be his motivation and reward. And if you're needy, it's because you're not having those feminine female friends. Women need women. And the last part. Become comfortable and practice your sexuality. This is the main motivation and reward, and also the biggest reason why people should get married. These days and age, you can have sex outside of marriage, and it creates a lot of issues, mainly because it suddenly doesn't become the thing that holds a couple together in marriage anymore. But if you manage throughout your youth to keep sex something that you only do inside a long-term committed relationship, preferably marriage, you'll be so way ahead of being an amazing wife. To be a virgin, which is so hard to do. I understand you. I know women are sexual beings. It is very difficult to remain a virgin these day and age, especially if you don't get married before you're 25 or 26 or older. That's why I encourage women to marry between the age of 18 and 25. I see nothing wrong with that, as long as you choose a man of high value in conjunction with the help of your father. Okay, so practicing your sexuality and becoming very comfortable in your body to create massive rewards for when your husband actually does create massive results. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that you got something out of it, took some notes or something. I will go through all of these a lot more for you to understand all these concepts and try to apply them. Spend more time focusing on this, because family is what's going to give you joy and happiness throughout the rest of your life. The family. And supporting a husband who's a man of high value, who's a leader, and who creates massive results and supports you and gives you everything. Isn't it better to be a woman who automatically gets everything that she needs, and automatically gets all the love that she wants, and automatically has friends and family and people around her that she loves, instead of having to work hard for it? Don't work hard on all those other things. Work hard on this, and everything else will fall into place. This is the Women of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you again tomorrow.